Hello everyone, welcome back to the next part of this life process. So in the last class we have discussed about digestion and all. So in this part we will discuss about respiration, heart. After digestion, the blood carries food to all the parts of the body. So each cell will get the nutrition. The cells which get this food, they will convert that into a energy plus carbon dioxide. Different organisms break down this glucose into different ways. So let us see each one. So here you can see first when the glucose enters in the cell, the cytoplasm breaks that into a pyruvate. It is a 3 carbon molecule. So glucose is a 6 carbon molecule. So after that when it enters mitochondria, so mitochondria completely breaks down into carbon dioxide and water molecules. Suppose if it takes place in the yeast during fermentation, so it converts that pyruvate into ethanol, carbon dioxide plus energy. Suppose if it takes place in the muscle cells, it will convert that pyruvate into lactic acid plus energy. So when the breakdown of pyruvate takes place in the presence of oxygen, this process is called as a aerobic respiration. If the breakdown of pyruvate takes place in the absence of oxygen, it is called as anaerobic respiration. So compared to aerobic and anaerobic, the energy will be liberated in a large quantity in aerobic respiration compared to the anaerobic respiration. So after this, we will move to the respiration. See, respiration takes place in different ways in different organisms. Suppose if I take an example of frog, when it is on the land, respiration is carried out through the lungs. Suppose if the same frog is in water, its moist skin will do the respiration. In fish, the gills are responsible for the respiration. The same way in human beings, we have a specialized organ called lungs. We will do respiration through this lungs. When we compare atmospheric oxygen and the oxygen in the water, so there is a lot of difference. So in water, the dissolved oxygen will be very less compared to the atmospheric oxygen. Hence, the rate of respiration in aquatic animal is higher than the terrestrial organism. So you may get this question in your exam. So why the rate of respiration in aquatic animal is greater than terrestrial animals? Because the amount of oxygen present in that water is very less compared to the atmospheric oxygen. Hence, they have a higher rate of respiration. Now we shall discuss human respiration. So as we all know, we do respiration through our nostrils. So this is the diagram for respiration. Here, when the air enters our nostrils, there will be fine hairs which filter this air. Along with this fine air, there is a mucus which helps in the filtration. After that, it passes through the throat and enters the lungs. See, this is the lungs. It divides finally into small globules. It is a balloon-like structure which are surrounded by capillaries of blood vessels, so which ensures the exchange of gases. So this you will understand in the part of heart. So here these balloon-like structures called alveoli, they are very rich in blood cells. They are surrounded by the capillaries of blood. Here the exchange of gases takes place. Blood carries the carbon dioxide from all the parts of the body. Here it leaves the carbon dioxide to the alveoli and absorbs the oxygen. These capillaries are very thin such that this diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. When the body size of any organism is larger, only through diffusion it is very difficult for the exchange of gases takes place. So they need a respiratory pigments. In blood, we have hemoglobin as a respiratory pigment which dissolves the oxygen and which carries the oxygen through the all over the body. As you all know, blood carries food, oxygen as well as waste material. So you all know that in the 9th standard you have studied blood is a fluid connective tissue. So there is a fluid material called plasma which contains red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. Okay, so these plasma carries food, nitrogenous waste and all. Only the hemoglobin carries oxygen to the each cell of the body. As you all know that the blood carries food, waste material and oxygen. So we need a pumping organ to pump this blood from head to the toe of our body. So here we shall discuss about heart. Heart is very important for the exam point of view. So you have to practice this diagram with all these labels. You have to learn this diagram very well. So heart is a pumping machine in our human body. So this is left atrium, this is left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle. So this is pulmonary veins and pulmonary arteries. This is aorta, this is upper vena cava and lower vena cava. So this is septum which separates the all the four chambers. The blood carries oxygen from the lungs. So the blood comes from the lungs to the first chamber, left atrium. When the blood enters left atrium, the left ventricle will contract. So this left atrium relax such that the blood enters here. Again this blood enters to the left ventricle here. When it enters left ventricle, this left atrium will contract. After that, it moves through the aorta to all the parts of our body. Again, that carries the carbon dioxide from the body's cells and it comes to the first chamber here, the right atrium. When it enters right atrium, the lower chamber will contract, right ventricle. So then when it relaxes, the blood enters. Again, this chamber contract, then this right ventricle relax and the blood enters here. From here, again it moves back to the lungs through pulmonary arteries. So this is the function of heart. So this is a continuous process. Okay, whether we sleep, whether we eat, whether we dance. So this process will never stop. If this process stops, the person will die. For the exam point of view, you may get diagram. They may not ask explanation, but based on this topic, they may ask question. What is double circulation? As you all know, we have four chambers. So these chambers are separated by the septum. The large animals, especially the human beings or the mammals, they are called as a warm-blooded animals. This is studied in the 9th standard. The animals which cannot adjust their body temperature to the environmental temperature. We need huge amount of energy to increase our body temperature or to maintain that temperature. So here, if the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood takes place, the efficiency of oxygen what we are getting will be very less. So avoid this mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood or carbonated blood will be separated by using this septum. So here we have a double circulation. That means the blood enters the heart twice. Hence we have a double circulation process. You may get the question in your exam like this. Explain double circulation. So what is double circulation? If the blood enters twice to the heart, then it is called as a double circulation process. This we can find in human beings and some mammals. So for example, in other reptiles like snakes and all, they are cold-blooded animals. That means they can adjust their body temperature according to the environmental temperature. So they do not require huge amount of energy to maintain their body temperature. They have two-chambered heart such that the little mixing of oxygenated and carbonated blood happens also. They may not get that much difference. So this is why we need a double circulation in warm-blooded animals. So here next comes blood vessels. So you all know the arteries carries blood from under high pressure from the heart to the different parts of the body. So compared to the veins, they are highly elastic and stronger muscles. Heart is a cardiac muscle which is very strong and elastic muscle in our body. So these veins bring back the blood which is no longer under pressure. So these arteries again they divide into a smaller capillaries through which covers the complete organ, which enables the exchange of gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen. To remember this, you can just imagine the drip irrigation system. As you all know, in drip irrigation system there is a long pipe In that we have a small tubes called drips. In that we can find a even more smaller pipes. So this is exactly like our arteries. So it covers the complete organ with a small capillaries to enable the exchange of gases in a easy way. So next comes platelets. So these platelets are present in the blood. So when we fall or get hurt, when we get wound, so what happens? The blood start bleeding. So to stop this bleeding, so these platelets clot that particular area. Suppose if the bleeding continues, what happens? There will be no pressure in our body. If there is no pressure, so heart cannot pump the blood, because you should remember that heart is pumping the blood against to the gravitational force. So it is very difficult to go against the gravitational force. So that's why the cardiac muscles are very strong, and these arteries too. So you should know that compared to atrium, these ventricles have a stronger muscles, because they have to push back that pressured blood against to the gravitational force. So next, lymph. So lymph is another fluid which is present in the blood. So it is formed when the small amount of plasma, blood cells, platelets, they escape from the pores of capillaries and form a fluid called lymph. So this carries digested fat. It drains the excess fluid back to the blood. So this is about today's class. So today we have discussed about respiration, heart. So in heart, the blood vessels, platelets and lymph. So you should be thorough with this heart diagram. So they will definitely ask for exam. Either they may ask for heart or brain. So you should be prepared well. Thank you. Wait for the next part.